Well, hello again. Now, I've spent the last hour and a half downstairs in the press room writing about the losers of this game, as much as Newcastle support and viewers of this channel might not want to hear this, but you know, from a national perspective, when you've got a result and a collapse like that, the story is about the defeated team, much like Manchester United and Liverpool all those weeks ago. But you know, thankfully, because of the previous owner and manager here, I do have words like shambolic and embarrassment as hotkeys on my laptop, so I was able to slip back into that mode of reporting with relative ease. But no, thankfully now I'm out here in an empty St James's with my selfie stick and my ring light. I'm able to shine a light on the winners, and wow, boy, do they deserve it. Yeah, where do you start with that? It was quite incredible, and we'll try and pick through it all. But I want to start with an article I wrote yesterday, which was, and I'll put it up on the screen there, you know, this is the day Tottenham feared, the day Tottenham realised that Newcastle had overtaken them and are disappearing into the distance. You know, this idea of Tottenham and Newcastle being locked as rivals for years to come, I don't think they are going to be. You know, that rivalry was pretty short-lived now. I think we'll see Newcastle forge clear of them. But the point I want to make is that Tottenham feared Newcastle because of money, because of the influx of, you know, state-backed owners, all the rest of it, whatever you want to call it. That victory there today wasn't about money. It was about management. Listen, half of Newcastle's outfield starters were here 18 months ago in the very first game of Saudi-led ownership, when Tottenham were a different class to Newcastle. They won 3-2 that day, Spurs, and I tell you, the scoreline flattered the home team, it flattered Newcastle. They were so much better, Spurs. Now, in the 18 months, what has happened? They've both spent the same amount of money. They've both spent £250 million on new players, but everything else has been chalk and cheese. The management of Eddie Howe versus the management of a succession of Spurs managers. The decision-making off the pitch, you know. It's just to bring it back to money, into Newcastle having stronger, you know, financial might is just so misguided. That there today was a victory for management, for Eddie Howe as much as anyone else. You know, the difference he has made in the past 18 months. And look at the goal scorers, you know, 2 for Jacob Murphy, 1 for Joe Linton, and 1 for Callum Wilson was scored by players who were at the club pre-takeover. You know, there's something to be said. So much for having all of this potential money to spend down the line. They don't need it when Eddie Howe was getting a tune out of players like Jacob Murphy, who was perhaps written off by some, you know, when the new owners came in, someone who perhaps might not be part of this journey going forward in the long term. Look at him there today. Wow, he was fantastic again, you know. Joe Linton, I gave Joe Linton man the match. I don't know if you guys will disagree. You could pick anyone. Who else would be up there? You know, Isaac. Murphy himself, you know, Bruno was brilliant again. Joe Willock, I mean, the pass for Isaac's goal from Joe Willock with the outside of his boot bent around the Tottenham's back four there. Now, it'll probably be lost amidst, you know, the Tottenham's collapse and all the coverage that's going to get in the coming days. But if you're going to pick one moment from that game, really, it probably is Joe Willock's passing behind for, I forget, was it the third, was it the fourth? I don't even know now. But no. Now, we were talking down there in the press room, you know, were Newcastle brilliant or were Tottenham so bad? Well, it's both. Tottenham, for me, have been playing like that for a while. And I said in the video yesterday, didn't I, that I had, you know, every confidence in Newcastle winning this game. And now, Tottenham have probably had this coming. It just takes a team as ruthless as Newcastle to expose that. And, you know, when we say from the first minute, it was literally from the first minute. They scored after 61 seconds through Jacob Murphy, and Eddie kept a straight face afterwards. And I think it was me who asked him the question of, you know, what did you think of the opposition? Now, Eddie kept a straight face, as he said. At no point did I think the game was won. Yeah. We disagreed down there in the press seats. We thought it was won after 61 seconds, like I said, and that was because of the ease with which Newcastle scored. You know, Joe Linton just walked by 2 of Spurs defenders, and from that moment on, it felt like a capitulation. It felt like a collapse, coupled with the energy of the home crowd here, and like I say, just that absolute application of a game plan and that ruthlessness from Newcastle. And I said, didn't I, you know, the game down at Villa last week, they just looked like a side who just needed that love, and just to top up on that energy of playing in front of the crowd here. And it was no surprise really to see them come out the way they did. Didn't quite expect them to score 5 inside 21 minutes, but yeah, after that, what happened? I'm trying to think back to all the goals that were scored in the goal there behind me. The second goal, Joe Linton, you know, I mean, in my mind, you think it's perhaps the best of the lot for the way he takes the ball. If you look back on the replay as well, you know, so intelligent, the way he uses his hand just to indicate to Fabian Shaw, who's 20-30 yards away, exactly where he wants the ball, the way he bends his run as well. You know, the Joe Linton of 2 or 3 years ago just wouldn't have done that. And as much as he's drifting in from the left and taking advantage of that, it was a real striker's finish, the way he took the ball down and had the confidence just to go around Lloris and put it in. You've then got you know, you've got Isak's 2 goals, and you've got Jacob Murphy's second. You know, that super smash from distance, and Isak as well. You know, when he gets in those positions, there was nothing as sure as he was going to score from that Willock through ball round the back there. You know, when that goes into Alexander Isak's path, you know it's going to be a goal. And then Callum Wilson makes it 6, by which point Harry Kane scored a goal. It was a bit disappointing. I thought Kane's goal from a Newcastle perspective a fairly soft concession, but you know, after that the second half was a procession, really, was it? And you can't really blame them for taking that foot off the gas, so to speak. You know, heading into what is now going to be a really crucial, you know, 4 or 5 days. Everton followed up by Southampton at home, 2 eminently winnable games for Newcastle, where you would expect them to go and take 6 points. And if they do that, you know, you could just be edging into the territory where Champions League qualification is secured with a few games to spare. If Newcastle win the games they should, and you know, I've maintained this for a few weeks now, I have no doubt, even amidst the result down at Aston Villa, that Newcastle would achieve Champions League qualification. It's everything they deserve. It's, you know, it is down to Eddie Howe's management. It is down to the decisions of the guys off the park. While Tottenham have wasted that £250 million they've spent, you know, Newcastle haven't wasted a penny of it, and you saw that out there again today. You know, the reversal of fortunes in the 18 months since that first game of the ownership is quite incredible. And it's got to the point, you know, we spend so much time on these videos and in print talking about you know, the money, the transfer budget, the need to spend, you know, £100 million this summer. You look at days like that and what Newcastle have done to what is supposedly the 5th best team in the Premier League, and you think, you know, they might not need as much surgery as you think. Not when you've got Eddie Howe bringing, as I said earlier, you know, bringing players, you know, way beyond levels we thought they were capable of previously. And one player I do want to pick out, I didn't give him man the match, of course, but Joe Willock, and Eddie was right afterwards to talk about Joe Willock having England as a very real ambition, and that performance there today. I've been critical of him in the past as someone who can flit in a game, flit out of a game. You know, again there today, I think he's had a real consistent run now as someone who is becoming absolutely integral to Newcastle's success. And while you are perhaps looking at the likes of James Maddison and other midfielders to take Newcastle on, I just think, yes, they do need more in there, of course they do, but someone like Joe Willock just looks like he could be maturing into an international player. And yeah, he's not the only one. You know, he's also got Sean Longstaff in the midfield behind him, beside him there as well. Now, how long before we start talking about him again with regards to England recognition? Don't underestimate him coming back into the team there today, missing down at Aston Villa last weekend. Just what a positive influence that had, and he's had a real, I wouldn't say unheralded season, but he hasn't quite had the plaudits of others. But I thought Sean coming back in was brilliant as well. But you know, where do you end? Where do you start? They were all magnificent, and I've said this before, they're just in such a good place right now. You know, you can write off what happened down at Aston Villa. There is just no doubt for me they will be playing, you know, there'll be Champions League football back here next year, and what a what an occasion those nights promised to be. But I don't want to be accused of tempting fate as I was yesterday with that article about this being the day Tottenham feared, and doing my best impression of Eddie Howe. It's onwards to Everton for Newcastle now. I think I'm going to be down there, so yeah, I'll bring you a preview video later in the week following Eddie's pre-match press conference. Please, again, if you've enjoyed this video, click like, click subscribe, it all helps. Yeah, and we'll see you down at Goodison Park later in the week. Safe travels if you are going down there, guys. And yeah, just one last little scan of this place. Thanks again for watching. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed it. Bye bye.